Hello there, welcome to Lejonthal. Now, first things first, apologies to my German viewers. This video is shot entirely in English. Reason being, I wanted to give the English-speaking crowd an overview, if you like, of my layout. So, very sorry about that. I suspect this will be a one-off, but we'll see. Basics first. My name is Konstantin and the layout and I are based in West Germany, in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, in a region called Bergisches Land. The region is famous for rain, a lot of rain. We have like serious amounts of rain. Think Scotland and you know what I mean. But with the rain over the centuries came a lot of wealth because water means energy. Because we have so many hills, that means we have so many valleys. And in the valleys, obviously, you have the mills. And so we had a lot of, and still have, industrial production in this area. I started building model railways quite some years ago. Initially it was HO and OO. And then only recently, I discovered O gauge. I mean, I've seen the locos and the rolling stock before and I was amazed, I was blown away. But I never thought that because I have this room here available, and I'm quite lucky to have this room, but it's not large. It's a rather small room. So I thought there is no way on earth that I could fit an O gauge layout into this room. But then I thought, hold on, let's do some planning, and that's what I did. And after some careful planning, I thought it's doable. So I decided to sell everything and start from scratch and build this layout here in O gauge. O gauge in Germany, as you probably know, is a different thing compared to the UK. The community in the UK is much bigger. But we do have some producers of fine locomotives and rolling stock and tracks and, you know, kits and everything for buildings. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a try. And I have to say, I never looked back. It's just amazing, as you all know. It's so beautiful, these huge models, and it's so much more fun. And also I'm getting older, you know, eyesight and all that, you know what I mean. It's much better to have bigger models to work with. When it comes to architecture, there are three things that you will find in this region. First is the use of slate. Second, timber frame buildings. And third, a specific color, a sort of type of green, which is actually called Bergisch Green. For example, if you own a listed building and you have window shutters, those must be painted in that specific type of green. The timber frame buildings the timber is always painted black, and slate is used to cover walls, even whole houses. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is you'll find some of my buildings are built exactly according to those specs, i.e. timber framed, Bergisch Grün and slate. Slate, not yet, but I'm working on it. I'm planning to cover some buildings in slate. Enough of that talking. We'll dive into the layout. I'll show you the train station and this area here and the valley behind me, which is not yet finished, and that area over there is not yet finished, and we have a factory on that side of the room. But first off, obviously, you'll want to find out about the track plan layout, and that's what I'm going to show you now. The room measures 3 by 4 meters. That's 10 by 13 foot for you imperial lot. In the introduction, I was sitting here just to give you a perspective. We have this main train station. We have a turntable with an engine shed, and we have this factory area here and another small station here. These 2 segments in red are detachable. So this one connects the layout with a fiddle yard, which I managed to squeeze into half of it into the next room here. And this bit here, with the help of this bit, I can go round and round and round. So the idea was, first off, it's all on one level, obviously, because for 2 levels, this room is just not big enough. So we have the train station, and the idea is to have goods transported from the station to the factory and back, and have passenger transport in between, all obviously branch line and a fiddle yard here on this part, on this side really. Right then, we have the main train station with a total of 2 platforms, one being here and the other one being over there. Right at this moment you'll see 2 locomotives. This is the V60 Bi-Lenz, which is a German shunting classic really, and we have the so-called T3 also Bi-Lenz, which is equipped with, both models are equipped with sound. This one is with sound and steam. Now, as I mentioned before, seen here, you see here the timber frame buildings, and the windows are actually painted in Bergish green. Same with this door here. Now that the V60 is out of the way, these passenger cars here are actually from Bavaria. Well, not the models. The models are again from Lenz, which is, they are based in Gießen, but they are Bavarian passenger cars. Now, Bavaria is far from where I live, and these models don't really fit, but along with the T3, it forms just a wonderful train, and I thought I'd like to have them. They're just beautiful. They're small, and my layout is small. This is just a perfect train for this layout. Two things I'd like to point out with regards to my train station. First off, you recognize this little fella? Yes, of course, Mr. Eisenbart Kingdom Brunel. I couldn't resist. And second, the clock that you see over there, I don't know if you can see it on this video. It's actually a working clock. I actually managed to squeeze into that kit a quartz movement, so it's a working clock. It's just for the hell of it, I don't know. Moving on from the train station over there, we have a timber trader and a signal box for the train station. The signal box may look familiar to you because it's by Pico, and nice little kit which I enjoyed building. Then we have an engine shed for a model which I'll show you in a second, along with diesel station over here. Steam locos need water and coal, obviously. And then we have another engine shed and a turntable. The turntable is made by Kitwood Hill. Again, Kitwood Hill should be familiar to you. Obviously, they're based in the UK. Water tower sitting on top of a hill. Then we have a bridge over a valley which is far from completed. Again, what I mentioned before, this is going to be a valley with a stream and a mill, which is really very typical for this area. Then we have a castle. Well, the remains of a castle, shall we say. Far from finished. And there is the other small train station. And further to the right is the factory area, which I'll show you just in a second. This is the factory, which is not yet finished because, you know, we're talking loads and loads of details, obviously, but it's getting there. It is actually a factory where bicycles and motorbikes are produced. It's called Harl, David and Söhne. Harl, David und Söhne, which translates to Harl, David and Sons. If we go up here, I hope I can do this. There you go. That's the other part of the factory. The chimney has a smoking unit attached. I fitted it inside that chimney because, you know, I wanted to. It's good fun to have it switched on. And there's another signal box for the other train station. This time, this is a German kit which I fine-tuned with a few details. Here's another view of the factory. The buildings, by the way, are a mixture of kits and scratch built. That one is scratch built, that one as well. That's a kit, that is a kit, and this one here is a kit as well. This is scratch built. Now, this model here, I better switch off the engine, shouldn't I absolutely love. It's called Schienenbus in German, which means track bus, really, in English. Well, you know them as rail buses. Those kind of buses, rail buses, were built in the 1950s. We had, after the war, we had the situation, we didn't have any beaching sort of guys here, but the German railways faced a difficult situation after the war, and it was no longer feasible to have steam locos with passenger coaches running on branch lines. So a German company built these rail buses in the 1950s, and they were a huge success. They were actually called the savior of the branch lines because they were found almost everywhere. Particularly in this region, they were found on branch lines. Now, I like this model so much that I decided there is actually a real one not far from where I live, which now functions as a cafe. So I went there, took a picture from the inside, and then managed to fit a camera on top of a freight wagon and drove it around my layout. Lighting is very important to me and always has been for any layout. So this is what I've done so far. There'll probably be more over the course of the next, I don't know, couple of years or so. Same over here. Not as much. I mean, you know, could always do a bit more, I guess. Finally, this is the fiddle yard. Turn to the right, you see my work table, which is, hold on, you can't see that. No, that's no good. That's no good, is it? No, it isn't. So there we are. That's better. This is the connection to the fiddle yards. The tracks are underneath this tabletop, which I can pull up. And there you have it. Right here, there is the other detachable part missing at this very moment, obviously, and that would connect this bit of the layout to this bit here. I hope this makes sense. Does it make sense? I think so. I used to own two more steam locos, one being the BR94, which is a big locomotive, and I loved it, absolutely adored it, and the other being the BR50. Now the BR50 is massive, it's a beast, it's huge, it's bold, it's gorgeous, it's everything. But the problem with these two locos was, I mean, I loved those models. They were too big for my layout, and it just didn't make any sense. You've seen it, it is just too small. I will focus in the future, I will focus on small locomotives and small coaches and all that. I started building this layout about 2.5 years ago. It's work in progress, as you've seen. obviously every layout is work in progress. I take my time, and there'll be many more years to come with this layout, I'm sure. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Obviously, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, but here's a warning, it's in German, obviously. You know. But if you use Chrome as your internet browser, you can have Chrome translate the subtitles into English. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe see you soon. Auf Wiedersehen.